Welcome to the Capital Call podcast, where we discuss capital, labor, and technology, the main drivers of the global economy. I'm your host, Vijar Kohli, co-founder of Golden Door, an investment firm based in Newark, New Jersey. We hope you enjoyed today's topic as we expand on the ideas of capitalism and economics. On this episode, we'll discuss the impacts of the coronavirus on global supply chain, the rise of remote work and teleconferencing, what came out of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett's annual letters, and private equity trends from 2019. Global supply chain has come to a halt from the impacts of the coronavirus spreading virally across the nation and globally. We're seeing impacts specifically in Asia. Now in Europe, Italy has definitely stopped major cities and routes. Major airlines, travel-related companies have seen significant declines just in travel activity and the stoppage of flights globally. U.S. market indices this week and the last week of February have dropped over 10%, simply implying significant fears from investors. Microsoft and Apple have recently released quarterly guidance will not be met in the next earnings calls, and these are the top major players. So imagine what's happening in e-commerce and other players that simply don't have the wherewithal of Microsoft and Apple. They'll see significant impacts, definitely miss quarterly earnings going forward. Major conferences like the Mobile World Conference, Workday, Salesforce-related conferences have been completely canceled. These are places where sales teams usually close deals, new products are released, so this is impacting technology in different ways we wouldn't have really forecasted. And I don't think people are prepared if the virus begins to spread in North America and much more across the globe. Since we haven't discovered a vaccine, the major concerns is that if we have lockdowns in major metropolitan cities, we simply don't have a way to stop it spreading. So if people have to live within their households, they may not have enough supplies to last 1 to 3 months. So it's a different problem. It's something that we simply have not experienced yet. Hopefully we do not experience that anywhere, but we're already seeing it in 2 major cities in China. So let's see how it's being handled, and hopefully a vaccine is found sooner rather than later. On a brighter note, teleconferencing is picking up globally. Businesses don't slow down simply because of fear. They're being forced to find alternate solutions to keep the lights on. So companies like Zoom, a popular video conferencing tool, has onboarded more users in January and February of 2020 than all of 2019, well over 2.2 million users. And we're seeing this across other remote tools as well. So if usage increases, members get onboarded, we'll see profits rise accordingly. And this is very promising, not just for these companies that provide the tools to build distributed teams and enable remote work, but this will provide this alternate landscape in the future that enables employees to work on their own schedule and doesn't require everyone to come to the office on a 9-to-5 schedule that we've seen in the last century. So this is pretty exciting. It's definitely a brighter note. Not every company is losing money, so it's a good sign to see someone making money during the times of distress. Every year, I have a handful of annual letters that I consistently read just to stay on top of the market, to learn from people that are just simply better investors than me, and then to diversify my thought process, to understand what's going on outside of my own industry, outside of my own lane. And annual letters do a great job of providing that insight of what top executives and leaders are doing or have done and plan to do. Two of those top global leaders, one is Bill Gates, who writes the Gates annual letter regarding his foundation and the impacts they've made in healthcare and education. Simply well-written. Bill Gates, obviously the founder of Microsoft, has a viewpoint of the world that I simply have not seen. So it's always colorful insight, and he's always making progress. So that's impactful. But Warren Buffett has been writing his annual letter for over 40 years, discussing his investment process. He documents everything that's going on internally at Berkshire Hathaway, all the investments being made, the trends internally on his $100+ million business that he created many decades ago. This year, he focuses on succession planning and the broken incentives of board of directors and investment bankers, something that him and Charlie Munger have brought up many times, that when you make an investment, you should look at the incentives. If leaders and executives are not adding value to the bottom line that provides more value to stakeholders, then you have to be concerned about who's really making money at the end of the day. So these letters are relatively short, usually less than 20 pages, relatively quick read. I recommend it if you have nothing to do on a Saturday or Sunday morning. Give it a read. Specifically Warren Buffett's. I've read all of his letters since the 60s and 70s, and it's a college education in itself. So check it out. And let me know your thoughts. In 2019, the private equity markets have seen strong deal activity despite worsening macro conditions. Every year, Bain & Company releases a fantastic report describing the state of private equity year over year, covering all aspects of the alternative investment class. This year, they highlighted a couple key points that I'll mention today. First being, more private equity general partners are preparing for a downturn. It's no surprise we've seen cash levels and dry powder rise, but this is the first year we've seen the average time for a buyout firm using dry powder fall to levels well below what it was before the financial crisis. So firms are deploying that cash, but they seem to be raising much more at the same period of time. Next, there's a growing share of buyout deals that are using actually more leverage for with debt, and multiples have increased over 11x for more than half of these deals. This is not a surprise since there's a scarcity of good deals in the market. So with extra cash on the sidelines and available to deploy, people can outbid each other whenever they see fit. And when it comes to deal returns, diverse lead managers, general partners that include women and other races and ethnicities are seeing a more impact or delivering higher returns. So that's an interesting point when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And then should not come as a surprise, but we're seeing technology deals produce stronger returns than the private equity market overall. So the market is still relatively strong. A lot of the deal makers will tell you that they're seeing equal or similar deal flow for the last 2 years. So private equity is still in a good state, which is a strong indication because it's a different indicator than the public market indices.